So I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well.
The court is an official environment where respect, etiquette, and decorum is expected and demanded. There are things that you're not allowed to do in court. Smoking, wearing certain clothes, or interrupting the judge may be normal behavior outside the courthouse. However, they'll get you behind bars if you show such behavior in court. Many defendants have refused to acknowledge these rules due to youthful exuberance or street credibility. Like the house always wins in casinos, the judge always has the last word in the courtroom. The judge can sentence you to 1 day or several months in jail for interrupting them or being disrespectful in court. Regardless, many defendants do not care. They cause distraction in the court and give the judge a piece of their own mind. They believe they're already going away for a long time, so what are 2 months or 10 days extra going to do? In this video on courtroom consequences, we will be exploring the disturbing trend of criminals showing disrespect and disregard for the justice system while appearing in court. From defiant outbursts to blatant disrespect for the judge and legal proceedings, these individuals seem to have no regard for the gravity of the situation they find themselves in.
How do you plead to the speeding 22 over and a possession of drug paraphernalia on January 23rd?
20-year-old Austin Boone appeared in Jefferson District Courtroom 203 on charges of speeding and possession of drug paraphernalia. Austin was speeding 22 miles over the allowed limit. Initially, Austin appeared confused when the judge asked whether he was pleading guilty.
She told me to say guilty or not guilty.
In the end, he pleaded guilty and was handed his sentence, which he pleasantly accepted. His case wasn't a criminal case and involved no jail time. It was straightforward, with him paying a fine and attending traffic school. Instead, due to sheer youthful exuberance or ignorance, Austin turned the case into a show of will with the judge. His problem started when a bailiff noticed that Austin was sagging his trousers.
178
Just how does it go?
Dressing appropriately is one of the requirements for a court appearance. The bailiff politely informed him to pull up his trousers, but our man was not in the mood. The bailiff dutifully informed the judge, Stephanie Burke, that Austin was not dressed for court. The judge then repeated the bailiff's order for Austin to pull up his trousers, but Austin said he was already done with the court and leaving. The judge wasn't having that and repeated the same order, but Austin chose that particular moment not to listen to orders because he was done with his case.
I instructed you to pull your pants up on a number of occasions and gave you the opportunity to do that. Instead, you wanted to argue about it and act a fool. When I put you in that box, that was to give you a few moments so that I could discuss that with you privately at the end of this docket.
After 15 minutes, Austin was brought back before the judge. This time, Austin was no longer wearing the trousers. Instead, he is now in his basketball shorts. A big boy's move. Austin must have thought that this was a case he could strong-arm his way out of, but that was not to be the case.
In your pants was extremely poor judgment. Okay, I'm holding you in contempt. I'm going to sentence you to 7 days to serve for direct contempt of court.
He was much more obedient and agreeable when the bailiffs brought him before Judge Burke after the 2 days. He apologized for his rude behavior to the deputies and the judge. His countenance showed he learned that the courtroom is not the place to argue with bailiffs, sag your trousers, or challenge the judge's authority. Nevertheless, Judge Burke accepted his apology, suspended his remaining sentence, and maintained his original charges.
Give me that phone. What's in that phone you don't want us to find?
Nothing. I just didn't see no need for you guys to confiscate my phone and go through it.
And you play by your rules. You don't want to play by anybody else's rules.
In number 2, we have 18-year-old William Demopoulos. The teenager is on probation for criminal damage, obstructing official business, and unauthorized motor vehicle use. You would think that would calm any teenager down, but not William. He violated his parole and is now in Judge Chris Green's court for his hearing. William doesn't look like someone who jokes with his phone, and he proved it when he refused to hand over his smartphone to the judge.
Give me that phone. What's in that phone you don't want us to find?
Nothing. I just didn't see no need for you guys to confiscate my phone and go through it.
And you play by your rules. You don't want to play by anybody else's rules.
The surprised judge asked him what was in the phone that he didn't want them to see. William replied that there was nothing there and that it just didn't feel right for them to have his phone. You have to respect a teenager willing to give up his freedom for his phone, or not. Following a stern rebuke from the judge, he eventually submitted the phone, but was no longer interested in any further court proceedings and made to leave the court.
Come here, hey. Come here.
No, man. No, man, this is not right, man. I'm telling you, it's not right. This system is so messed up.
Stand there. If you're gonna act up,
please.
give me an officer. Give me an officer
Please,
from next door.
please, please.
No.
It doesn't have to be like that.
William's tantrum reached its zenith when he jumped over a table and dashed towards the door. Luckily, a group of deputies was stationed there and they were able to subdue him. For his troubles, Williams was charged with resisting arrest, handed 40 days in jail for contempt of court, and the judge revoked his probation. His embarrassed grandfather, who was in court, apologized to the judge for his grandchild's unruly behavior. Williams' father later told reporters that Williams suffers from intermittent explosive disorder and hasn't been taking his medication.
And I'll tell you, you gutted him like a fish in that apartment too. You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead. You didn't think he was an intruder. You know, maybe one stab wound, okay. Maybe that's self-defense. But you put in 11 more to make sure he was good and dead. So I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well. You know, and if this was a death penalty state, you'd be getting the chair.
For our next defendant, we head to the Jackson County Courthouse, where 31-year-old Camilla Gamet is being sentenced for the brutal murder of Marcel Hill, her 38-year-old boyfriend with whom she shared a small apartment. When the police came to the apartment, she was covered in blood, and they saw a bloodied floor lamp, dented frying pan, and a large knife which she had stabbed her boyfriend with 12 times. These made up the evidence presented at her hearing. However, Camilla insists that she did not murder her boyfriend.
I just want to say that I stick by the truth, which is that I did react in self-defense. I did love Marcel, and basically at trial, the way I was portrayed, mostly everything was lies. There was a little bit of truth, but mostly I was convicted off of lies.
And that it was a case of self-defense. She claimed that the house was dark and that she felt that he was an intruder. During the proceeding, the victim's family was called upon to give a victim impact statement.
You did leave a big hole in our hearts and a void that will never be filled. You took the life of our sister's only child. You took a bloodline out of our family.
While they were reading the statement, Camilla appeared unbothered by whatever sorrow they were going through. In fact, she cut off Miss Banks, who presented the victim's impact statement on behalf of the victim's family, asking her.
Is that it?
Judge John McBain wasn't pleased by her behavior and gave her a firm warning.
You got something else to say?
When she was called upon to say something, she stated that she still stood by the truth, that she was innocent, that she's been convicted of lies, and that she intended to appeal the judgment. Judge Mark McBain noted that this is one of the worst cold-blooded murders he has presided over in his over 2 decades of service. He confirms that he agrees with the victim's family and hopes she dies in prison. Camilla was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
Mr. Roman, what is your true and correct name?
Tobias, my first name. That's it. Giggles or Tobias.
Next on the list is Tobias Roman, a 27-year-old charged with several crimes, including exhibiting a deadly weapon other than a gun, attempted robbery, 2 counts of making terroristic threats, and stalking. During his arraignment, Tobias at first hesitated to stand up. When he eventually stood up to say his name, he added Giggles, his street name, as part of his name.
Tobias, my first name. That's it. Giggles or Tobias.
He then went on to interrupt Judge Charles Bremer so much that he ordered him to be removed from the courtroom.
Or attempted robbery,
Saw a lot,
second degree.
saw a lot,
Hey,
bro.
Mr. Roman, you need to be quiet.
Yeah, you need to be quiet.
However, as Tobias was being escorted out of the courtroom, he threatened to kill the judge whenever he saw him.
I'll murder you when I see you.
He was sentenced to 8 months imprisonment for threatening a public official and 3 years imprisonment for his original charges.
Be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under statute if the assault is place of confinement. Count 6 is unlawful imprisonment.
Isaiah Gardenhire was arrested for shooting and killing a couple, Harley Owens and Kelsey Kuhn Lennon, in their home. Isaiah broke into the couple's home on Baker Street in Lansing, sexually assaulted the woman, and shot them. The 41-year-old was charged to court with Ingham County Circuit Court Judge Joyce Dragonchuk presiding over his case. One would have thought that after the brutal murder he would show remorse, but Isaiah appeared bored during the court proceedings, appearing to be sleeping, then loudly yawning twice, much to the judge's annoyance. This isn't Isaiah's first criminal case, as he has been convicted on several charges of assault and home invasion.
Hire is both charged with murder and the fact that he was on bond at the time the allegations occurred.
Charge her with murder because she's the one who did it.
He broke into Adri's home, raped her mother, and threatened to kill her. 13-year-old girl Adri was sleeping a few feet away while her 7 months pregnant mother struggled with Isaiah. Luckily, Adri's mom escaped and ran to the street for help, but before the police could arrive, Isaiah killed young Adri. During the court case, Isaiah showed the middle finger to the judge multiple times and caused several distractions. The distractions got so much that the court had to order his camera and mic turned off.
Go ahead and mute his audio and video. Thank you.
Isaiah was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, unlawful imprisonment, and assault with a deadly weapon. The first charge carries a minimum of 75 years, while the last 2 give him 10 and 15 years respectively. Isaiah would be at least 116 years old before he becomes eligible for parole. Which of these defendants was the most disrespectful? Do you agree with the sentences they were given? Join us as we